All right. Party people in the place to be, vandals and comic collectors of all genres and formats. Welcome to a brand new episode of Pink Buzz. I am happy to welcome a very huge panel of really awesome people here to talk about a plethora of topics. Joey, what do we have on the table tonight?
We're going to be talking with Arman and Jared about their new Kickstarter, Genetic Superiority. We're also going to be talking with Adrien. We have Adrien on the show tonight. We're going to be talking, do a little update on his Trakovi book because it got picked up by Scout Comics. So yeah, we'll be touching on that, and then we'll move on to our topics for the night, which we'll be talking about the paper shortage in the publishing industry, and we'll discuss a little bit our preferred methods of collecting and reading comics.
Does somebody have a TV or a radio on?
Oh, that might be me. One sec. Oh.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yeah, my bad. It was a little hard to hear
good.
Joey. It kind of was popping up. There's like a loud rumbling that would pop up. My bad. But yeah.
Oh, okay. We're good now?
It's gone now.
Yeah, we're good now. It's gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to go around and have you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves and plug what you're here to talk about, starting with you, Jared.
Hey, so yeah, I'm Jared Chiniga, and Arman and I are here to talk about our new Kickstarter. We're kickstarting our new comic, Genetic Superiority. It's a book we've been working on for about 1.5 years now, so we're really excited to get it out there, and hopefully people can get their hands on it. We're looking forward to seeing how everybody enjoys it.
All right. Welcoming back to the show. Go ahead, Arman. Take it over, man.
Yeah, my name is Arman Nasim. You might know me from Lost Magic. A friend of Johnny's and Graphic Vandalism here. But yeah, I'm here to talk about my new Kickstarter campaign, and obviously join the panel to kind of talk about some buzzing topics right now in the comic industry.
And the next guy, man, I don't even know if he needs an introduction. He is so huge. He blew up so big. Our boy, man, I can't believe the success story of this man. Take it over, Mr. Koleric.
My name is Adriean Koleric, and I'm here to talk about paper shortage.
Oh man, you got some really big news. I mean, a lot of people have probably already heard it, but like, would you mind go ahead and discussing your big triumph really fast?
Yes, yeah. So my book Trakovi got picked up in January by Scout Comics. And so now we're just basically prepping it for a 2023 release. And so just did the edits for the first 2 issues, and I'm well into hammering out issue 3. So we're doing a 5-issue run right now.
So no more Kickstarters for the remainder of the issues then?
Not right now. No, not right now. So I'm still trying to figure out how this all works. Because with Scout, I'm learning that everyone who works there, they're creators themselves, So some are running Kickstarters, and even some of the titles, like they're running Kickstarters off to the side to kind of help raise money for artists or letters or whoever's working on the on that book. So so I'm still trying to, I don't know, maybe I will do a Kickstarter. I'm not sure yet, but right now, no, I'm too busy right now with issue 3.
Yeah. Did you talk to Charlie? Like, how did you reach out to him directly to get your book, or what was the process like?
So it's funny because like I had really no intention of submitting it. I thought it'd be like, Copra 2.0 and just kind of like, become like famous, to like, everyone outside of publication. So, and then I think I was just kind of like Joe was throwing out some names of some publishers. And then actually a girl at one of the local comic shops, I gave her copies and she read it, and she sent me a list of people I should submit to. And, Scout was on there too. And so I don't know. I just kind of like one day at work, it was a slow day. And so I just I went out to Scout Comics website. I looked at their submission guidelines, and it seemed pretty involved. I had to like put together all these PDFs and my synopsis, my biography, this and that, and some sample pages. I threw it all in the email. I'm like, hey, this is me. This is kind of what I got going on. This is linked to my Dropbox. And that was it. I was kind of like, it was almost like a lazy submittal. And then, so that was in October. And I just forgot about it. And then, but like they have like a canned reply, call us back in a week if you haven't heard anything. And so after a couple of weeks, I'm like, hey, just following up, nothing. And then December 22nd, I just decided just one more, Hail Mary, just kind of, say, hey, this is my last, follow up, just kind of just one final check. And like, so that afternoon, so Brendan Deneen shoots me a line and he's like, read the first issue, loved it, more soon. And that was it. And so it's like, so I went through all of Christmas wondering when's more soon, right? And then
I remember you screenshot it and you sent me a DM and you're just like,
yeah.
I'm not sure what this means.
What is this? and so I sent him another follow-up and he's like, read issue 2, loved it. Talk soon, right? It was just like this like
soon, yeah.
this whole talk soon. And then eventually, he kind of followed up again, saying it's in the editorial. We're still discussing it editorially, we'll talk in the new year kind of thing, right? And like, so I went through a Christmas break with nothing. And then he got back to me soon after. And they were still discussing it. Brendan loved it. But he was having pushback from the rest of the editorial crew or the submission committee. But then he goes to me, we have something called an Obama card, which I guess is their Trump card, but because of their disdain for, everything Trump, it's an Obama card. He goes, I may have to use it. Right. And so I guess at that point, I kind of felt not really confident. I felt confident enough that something was going to happen. So basically at the end of the day, Brendan used the Obama card and just railroaded Trakovi into Scout Comics. And then I got, I signed the contract not long after that. And then I got my editor, Andrea. He's actually, his book came out like yesterday, The Shepherd. The Shepherd, yeah.
Yep, I think that's the one, yep.
I'll have to go on the shop's list and see, yeah.
Yeah, so I got assigned to him. And then, then it just turned out to be this whole back and forth for the last month. Just sending him the just back with the edits. So it was mostly dialogue. It actually was mostly punctuation. And then it just got to a point now where after we went through 4 rounds of edits for 1 and 2, and then we started talking about where it's going now, 3, 4, and 5. And so he calls me. And he's like, hey, tell me what's happening next. So I told him, and there was like a bit of a pause. And he's like, yeah, this is what I'm thinking, right? So anyway, had to do a bit of a rethink, kind of settle things down a bit. Because it was, because thinking back, it was pretty stupid what I proposed to him. So anyway, so now it's just, I'm just kind of working away. And then also, so now, even though the book doesn't come out till next year, I'm going to be put into their IP catalog, intellectual property. So they'll be taken into cons. Like I think it's going to be in time for San Diego. It's going to be in their catalog. And so Scout, I think for the first time, I think they have a booth set up at San Diego. So that's huge. So really, it's like, so technically, I'm not saying anything's going to happen, but technically, like the book, like the property could get picked up, like optioned, even before it gets released.
Yeah, like I said, man, Adult Swim would be a perfect landing spot if it did.
We'll see. I mean, so and that's it. Here I am.
Yeah.
So, could the Scout issues actually come out to be quite a bit different than the Kickstarter ones, at least with dialogue and the way they're laid out, or is that going to be pretty much the same thing?
I changed a few things. So I changed like a little bit of coloring here and there. The dialogue is a little more refined. I don't know how you can drop the C bomb and make it more refined, but it actually is more refined. And then I went back and I redrew a couple of faces because some of the artwork was like 2 years old. And so when you're drawing constantly for 2 years, like you change dramatically. Like I find, so I had to go back, I had to redo a couple of things. So the story itself, it's the story. So the only big difference is going to be, so Dave Thomas will be doing brand new covers, starting with issue 1. So the self-published covers that you guys got. So that's basically a collector's item now. And then Dylan Corbisser is going to do at least the variant for issue 1.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, I saw you post. He posted it too. It looks pretty sick. It looks good.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm very excited. So, yeah. So we'll see.
That's awesome, man.
That's awesome.
Kickstarter success story. Right
yeah,
there.
and Scout's very forward thinking, so they're a very cool publisher. Charlie Stickney. So they got Charlie Stickney, who's a massive success on Kickstarter. A few years ago, they made him head of publishing. So just people like that, they understand the market very well and where it's heading, and I think he's like, it's one of those things where they're gonna do right by your book and really push it out well.
Yeah, Charlie sent me like a little kind of like a welcome email, and then he just made a couple, we're just a couple of comments about the covers, and I guess what kind of like sort of surprised me a bit is with Scout, they make suggestions, but ultimately it's up to you as a creator, like what you want, So like with the covers, like he suggested, he liked Dave's covers because Dave's work he thought would be more successful commercially. He wanted me to do a cover, but there's so many variant options that I can do. Like Andrea lists off I think about a dozen different variants that we can do. But anyway, so yeah, it was up to me, and then so I just said, yeah, no, Dave's doing the covers, Dylan's gonna do the variants, and then I'll do 1 or 2 covers along the way. But yeah, Scout, I was really surprised how they guide you, but like I said, they really make you feel like it's still your book,
Trakovi #1, 56 variant covers. Outdoing Ice Cream Man, going for the gold for the first issue.
It's like I think Something's Killing the Children 21 is supposed to be having like another boatload of variants as well. I think whatever they did for 16, they're going to do for 21. So
I dropped that book. It's not on my phone.
I'm so close to dropping it because I just completely lost. I've lost interest.
Yeah, I'll just get it in trade form or whatever, if ever.
So you guys, man, Genetic Superiority, Arman, 2 Kickstarters in 2 months, man. That's pretty big for a guy that's just like really kind of launched his first one just a while ago. Why the urgency, man? Or you just really want to get them out
I'm sitting on a lot of good comics. You know what I'm saying, Johnny? I'm trying to get as much out there as possible. This is really my year to kind of build that fan base, that audience, and I'm trying to get consistency. I'm trying to do 1 a month this year. I'm track. I'm already months ahead, so I'm trying to really push it out there. So.
Nice. So you guys want to kind of plug the book a little bit, kind of give us your elevator pitch?
Absolutely, Jared.
Yeah, so it's set in the far future, and it's a bit of a post-apocalyptic society, and humanity has kind of known about this apocalyptic event coming, and so they've kind of gotten into genetic engineering, and that's where we pick up is humanity has split into 3 new species of people. We've got purists, who are sort of pure humans, animalists, who believe that the best path forward is to kind of meld with nature, go back to our animal ways. And then we've got robotics, who have kind of melded themselves with machinery. They're more cyborg, and they think the best way to survive is to just become machines and not have to worry about the flesh or lifespan or anything like that. So that's kind of where we pick up. We follow Wynn. He's the purist chosen one, and he goes out on this mission to find the rest of the pieces of the prophecy, assemble the prophecy, and kind of piece together what this is all about, figure out how they can survive. And he goes out and meets up with these other civilizations. Won't say too much more than that, give it away, but that's kind of the gist of things.
Nice. Yeah. It's a pretty interesting little first issue. I really enjoyed what Arman sent us to read. And Yeah, it's kind of off to a neat start. Like, how long is you guys planning this first arc to kind of be?
5 issues. It was meant to be definitely like have an end. We started with an end, worked our way backwards. But I've been jumping on, and people have been saying like The Walking Dead, this could go on for a long time. But we definitely see this being a 5 issue story arc, and we're always talking about spin-offs and working on the future. But let's get there first, and let's get this first one funded and
Right.
out there first.
How many days was this Kickstarter did you go with?
I think 14 or 13. I think it was.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because I saw it and
Wow.
it had 13 days left, and I was like, then I started thinking, because usually they pop up. I see them pretty early on. Like usually I see them like when they're at 27, or usually 2 or 3 days. So I was wondering how many days you guys went for this. So that's pretty ballsy, man. 14 days to fund your book. I mean, yeah, most people go with the 30, but you guys are like, fuck this shit, man. We're going with the 2 weeks. Let's get this fucking show on the road.
Can you imagine doing a Kickstarter that was only 24 hours? You have 24 hours. That's it.
That's
Boom.
it. Yeah, make it a whole event.
Right?
It really makes it. People press the button and rush to it. Lost Magic was 21 days. Funded successfully. I was pretty confident that it can get there again. And also, I almost thought 21 days was too long, so I wanted to do a little shorter, trying to experiment with this 14-day time frame.
Good for you.
Yeah,
You
you're
actually did
You're
timeline.
flying along pretty good. I mean, you're all like over halfway there, which is with 9
Yes.
days to go. So, doing a little better than the time frame for Lost Magic. Because I was sweating for you there for a little bit towards the end, man. I was like, come on, get my boy over the edge, man. And it happened.
I think
So
what really pushed me over the edge was Billy Tucci and Niall Scala on their Pop XP podcast really enjoyed the book and the artwork and pushed it heavy. And Merc Magazine also jumped on board. So lots of friends. The Kickstarter community really jumped on board to try to get it funded, and it did. And I was super excited and happy for that.
it was the Swamp Thing bear, right? That's what got him. I mean, like
Yes,
yeah.
the Swamp Bear thing. It was really just they like the magic. They just like they said the artwork just like breathe magic, and I was like, I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah, no, the art in this book's really fun too. It kind of reminds me of old Wildstorm book actually. So I was really digging on it.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know if you guys know, but Johnny was actually the first backer who ever backed my campaign on my first campaign. So so it means a lot that you came back very quickly. I think the first day for sure of Genetic Superiority. This one.
Yeah, I think you had about $40 when I backed it. So yeah, there was already a couple of guys that probably got a. But yeah, it's of course, man. Like, yeah, I really like your energy. I really like what you're trying to do and say with your book. So of course, I was going to be right there when you hit me up with a new one. And I'm really happy that you wanted to be back on the show as well. And you brought Jared with you. And Jared, like how long have you and Armin been working together, and how long have you guys been developing this story together?
Yeah, Armin and I go way back. We were freshman roommates in college. We just got randomly assigned and just worked out really well. We, both have a lot of the same goals, making content. So we started with short films. We're both doing filmmaking classes at school. And with the pandemic, everything kind of slowed down creatively. But we still had all these stories we wanted to tell. So we thought we can get into comic books. This is a great way to do things still. And this particular story we've been working on since about fall 2020. So about a year and a half now. And we've made the first book already. We're well into the third book, but we, want to get it out there on Kickstarter now and help it find an audience.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious.
Go ahead, Joe.
I'm just curious. You said you're going to do one a month, but are you going to interchange the Lost in Magic and 1 month this one, and the next month you'll do the other comic?
Yeah.
So it'll give you a 2-month buffer between issues from one to the other?
Right. It's gonna, the way it really is whatever's ready, and whatever is kind of at the top of my mind, is ready to launch. That's gonna be the one that launches. There's really no order in my mind. It's not gonna be like a carousel of 1 1 1 1 2 1 2. It's gonna kind of be whatever kind of whatever I'm feeling in the moment, I guess.
Okay.
But it's one of those that there is there's like future issues planned. They're ready to go, and it's really just the marketing push and the covers and everything like that.
Cool. And like once a month, man, that means you're gonna be. How do you have time to do anything? You're going to be packing nonstop books and shit, and
I know,
sending it out in mailers. Like, how are you going to find time to finish up to like issue 4 and 5? Like, come on.
I was feeling the pressure to get Lost Magic out, and turnaround time for that was was faster than I imagined. I was like doing that. I think one week, and I got everything turned around. Shipped out. After I received the book. Yeah. So and that was 2 weeks after my campaign ended. I was able to get the books out to the backers. So I'm definitely, more confident now in, just gaining experience. But yeah, it's definitely something that I'm thinking about the timeline wise of, fulfilling as well as launching the next one. And
well, at least on this one, you have Jared can help you out with that,
Yeah. Share the load. We already got the book sent off to printers too. We got Comics Wellspring doing it for us. So this one should be a little bit faster timeline. And like Arman said, he got the book sent out pretty quickly once he finally got back from the printers. So we think we'll have it in time for like end of March, and then got a few con appearances lined up. So we're getting into it.
Oh wow, you guys already got cons lined up. Sweet.
Yeah.
Which ones you guys planning on going to?
Big Apple Comic-Con is the next one in the end of March. And trying to plan out the ones from future ones. I'm trying to see like the experience. This is gonna be my first one. So I'm going to kind of see, how the sales go, how to, and how to talk to people, what the, moods are like and stuff, environment. But yeah, I'm excited for that.
How much does a booth for one of those cost? Just wondering.
It really depends on the size. The big ones can, I don't know if Adrian, you've been to some, but like 350 to 500. It can go up that high, but it can also be $200 to $100 to $200 for like smaller cons. This one in particular for Big Apple, I was able to talk the guy down because it was my first one, so I was able to negotiate and he was, willing to work with me, and we got a good price.
Yeah, they're like, oh, for $200, we can give you the table over here beside the bathrooms.
You're in the parking lots. Yeah. Tailgates.
Yeah.
You know what? It's actually not a bad idea. Can you imagine setting up a tailgate just outside the doors, right? Have a little barbecue set up. You got your pretzels set up, right?
In the parking lot. It doesn't cost you a thing. Yeah.
Get the most traffic.
It's normal.
There, Everybody's walking past.
Yeah. That'd be pretty cool, actually.
That's a good idea. Might have to use that later on.
How about it? Yeah.
I think they'd send security out pretty quick, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to like do an incognito out of your trunk, and then when they come, close the trunk, and then run away for sure. Yeah.
Could be a good promo thing though, right? Get someone to like record it, right? You getting beat down by like con security. That's how you sell books, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you can make a comic about it. Yeah. Just shout out to Mel, shout out to Elle. Thanks for stopping in. Randy as well. He's always here as usual. So thanks for stopping in, guys.
So aside from Genetic Superiority, do you guys have anything else that you got planned to you guys got coming out together? You might let us in on.
Sure, we have a YouTube channel. Jared, you can go.
Oh, you go for it. We got a YouTube channel, a couple YouTube channels. Our big push right now is we've got a prank channel. We're doing one prank a month, and we had a big Spider-Man one in December for the No Way Home release. It was kind of a tie-in. So that went really well. It was really, it was pretty funny. We had a friend of ours who's very acrobatic, dressed up as Miles Morales Spider-Man. And he was flipping around in Washington Square Park. Arman was there stealing phones from people, and he would come in and kind of save the day. So definitely, that's definitely worth a look.
Hopefully everyone was involved, right? Because you steal someone's phone. Better hope your buddy's pretty good fighter, because
Gotta watch the video, Joe. It was rough out there.
It didn't all go according to plan.
Yeah, because people in their phones, man, you're playing with fire there. Especially don't take a phone away from a teenager. That's the worst. I swear they'll whoop you good.
So our buddy's coming out of
YouTube.
coma.
All you gotta say is just a prank, brah. Just a prank, brah.
Just a prank. Yeah, that's what I did. And, people were still angry, but they couldn't do anything. I gave them the phone back.
Yeah.
Game over.
There's one hipster guy who he really exploded, so that's one that's worth a look for sure.
Yeah, that was like a semi-fight, semi-brawl, but it's all on camera.
Usually, you have to have them sign a release form, right?
But no, not with these YouTube pranks, it's all.
Oh, you don't have to? Do you pixelate their faces, or?
If you're in a public place, it's anything really goes. It's a
First
public
Amendment,
forum.
right? Yeah, you can film anything that anybody. If you can see it, you can film it. Yeah, that's how it is down here.
Huh.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Lots of gray area to play around in for sure.
That's for sure. Yeah. We just shot one in the mall for Valentine's Day. So nobody really cared about that either. So security guys were walking back and forth. They said nothing.
Yeah, probably livened up their day. They're probably pretty bored most of the time. Yeah, especially nowadays, people don't get out as much anymore. So
right.
So after how long are you guys planning on taking Genetic Superiority? If this first arc does well, do you guys have kind of a planned roadmap for it, or is it just a one arc little baby?
Well, we definitely, it's a big world that we're setting up with all this post-apocalyptic sci-fi stuff going on. So we definitely have ideas for how we could take it further. But, for now, we got 5 issues planned. Could go a little bit longer. We've got an arc definitely mapped out. So it's just about telling that story, and then we'll see where it goes from there. We'll see.
Yeah. I think with this story in particular, with these characters, it will end, this arc. But, there's plans for spin-offs. We talk about what the future will look like, and that can look like a bunch of different things, right? Depending on who wins or who is right of this prophecy, and out of these 3 factions, what the world will look like. So there's definitely possibilities in where it can go.
Well, when I read it, I was surprised at how small the cast was. I was like, man, this is an Arman book? Like, there's not 80 million people in this one, man. Like,
I had to take it easy on this one. But I think a big thing that I loved saying was 20 main characters across 32 pages of the first book.
Oh, yeah, it was incredible, though. And you pulled it off, man. Like, I wasn't saying nothing bad about it, man. I was actually impressed by Lost Magic.
Absolutely, and I appreciate that. And but this one took a little different approach, but there's going to be a big cast of characters and, really memorable characters that we're going to meet along this journey. But one by one, not all at once, that's for sure.
Cool.
Okay. Joey, you want to take it into the uncharted waters, into the spooky subjects that we have planned for?
Yeah, we'll start with because one will definitely lead into the other because it might affect the way we collect our comics. So we'll start with the topic of the paper shortage, which started to rear its head and become more obvious this fall. For many reasons, I dug into a little bit why do we have this paper shortage, because it's not so much a question of raw materials, it's more logistics. Because a lot of the publishing industry, newspapers, magazines have shifted towards digital and stopped releasing printed versions. So this affected the printing industry, the publishing industry directly. So they downsized. And then because of the pandemic, people gained, for some reason, wanted to read physical copies of books and stuff anymore. They veered away from the digital, I guess, because people aren't riding the bus to work anymore and stuff, so they're not holding out their tablets to read stuff. They're at home, they're comfy, they can sit there and open a book. So this created a huge demand on the publishing industry, all of a sudden one shot. And compound that with the lack of labor for transport and freights, the lack of containers. So you have not enough containers bringing stuff over from China, and not enough people unloading those containers at ports, which created a huge backlog and a stress logistically on the whole whole industry, not just in the paper industry, but everything else. So like I've ran into a few people on Kickstarters that have been having huge problems with this because their books are done, they're made, they're sitting in LA in a container, which like was supposed to get unloaded a month ago, didn't happen. They're still waiting. It's been 2 months. Their books are sitting in a container in LA in port. So that one person said he'll never do a Kickstarter that's printed in China ever again. It'll all be done here through either in Canada or in the States. So yeah, so it's we haven't seen the price increase on comics yet, but it's coming because the industry, they've been absorbing the costs. Yeah. But because they don't see an end in sight, it's going to start raising the prices on potentially on all the books we buy. So that's coming into effect probably in the near future. We'll probably see a price increase on comics coming pretty soon.
Have they projected how much? Because I mean, like image books, like $5. It's $4.99. So
yeah, well, the inflation rate on comics, just in general, compared to let's say the inflation rate of minimum wage, is crazy. It's comics in price have outgrown like the minimum wage minimum wage has gone up maybe 200%, and comics have gone up 500% in the same time span. So like when I was a kid, I bought a comic for $1, and now like that same dollar doesn't even come close to buying as many comics as when I was a kid, because of the inflation rate hasn't grown the same for salaries and the price of these physical copies of books. So
yeah, I noticed that when I was a kid, it jumped up in increments. I remember when I first started, they were 50 cents, then they were 75, then they were $1, and I think once they got to about $1.75, after that they jumped all the way up to almost $3. Though, like it was weird how like at first it was in these small increments, and then it was like by $1.50. So yeah, well, it's kind of.
Yeah, well, that's because of the quality difference too. When Image hit, they went with like higher quality papers and stuff. It wasn't quite the newsprint comics we're used to from kids. Like they went with more glossy papers, and you know, but still, I mean, you know, it used to be fun for kids to collect, but I mean, kids can't collect as much anymore because the prices are, you know, it's starting to become a slightly more expensive hobby. So. Yeah,
it's expensive for some adults to collect lately with some of these books.
Yeah, and that's why I was wondering, like, you guys work directly in this, so you have to deal with printers and stuff. I don't know if you guys have noticed, since you've been dealing with printers, if you've noticed a shift from when you first started doing some business to now.
I see the changes every week, Joe. You know what I'm saying? I see, because I'm always, you know, I have so many projects. I'm always trying to get, you know, the best printing price, and, you know, just find, you know, the best way to go about it. And, you know, there are options. There's so many options, and all of them are raising their prices. I think, you know, Mixam raised their prices almost 50% from last week to this week, which is Mixam's the biggest printer, you know. And then you have a bunch of them. You know, I know maybe Adrien, you're probably going to go through Comic Impressions with Scout, but, you know, they're also, you know, even that they can't get their hands on paper. So then, of course, you can only use the most premium paper, and then that's going to cost more. It's things like that where, you know, it's really options of, yeah, can you go to China? But then there's COVID delays, you know, 2 months or 3 months. They're already projecting out there, and that's after you place the order. You know, so there's lots happening, and then it's kind of just like a wild time to be, you know, a comic creator, because you gotta not only worry about the book and fulfilling, you have to worry about printing now, and, you know, finding the right. You know, paper, and at you know, at an option that makes sense for making a book and for the reader and the buyer.
Yeah, I know I know Scout, they actually they've looked into, they now have a printer, I think, in Quebec as well, and one in the States. Okay. So they're trying to expand their options for printing, because they saw the writing on the wall kind of thing, and so as far as I know, no concerns on their end. So I'm not sure, like, and I'm not at that point now where I don't know where they're going to be printing my book when the time comes to. But I know, like, it's funny you mentioned, like, you know, the printing coming from China. When I was planning for printing, I gave no entertainment to, like, I did not like even like think of going overseas for printing. Like my first choice was to do it in Canada. because of convenience, because of shipping. I didn't want any delays, in case something's wrong. It won't take me long to overturn or turn around, for fresh printing if I needed to. So I did go through Mixum. Because Mixum, international, so they have offices or whatever in whatever country. So the Canadian one is in Ontario, and it's different for me because like I was really the only one on the book, so I didn't have another artist, I didn't have a letterer or a colorist or anything like that. So my overhead was so low that I planned. The printing costs didn't really bother me at the time. I liked Mixum's pricing was fine. And it was more so their interface. I like how I was able to upload the book and preview, and it was just easy to use. So I did contact a few in the States, but I just thought, and most of them were in Florida, and I just didn't want that hanging over my head. So I wanted a quick turnaround with, as soon as Kickstarter was done, I wanted to make sure everything was all tickety-boo, out the door kind of things. So, so far I haven't really felt any effects of this paper shortage. Maybe like a couple of titles in my pull file, are delayed, but that's really about it right now.
Yeah, because you see certain titles like Red Room, Ed Piskor. I think his book was supposed to come right out after the holidays, and it got pushed back till I think it's just coming out in the coming months. So it got 6-week delay on his book. But you're talking about. And I saw a lot of people complaining about the George Perez, the special print. They're reprinting some of his work. And people were bitching about the low print run. And the reason why they did that, because if they went with a bigger print run, it would have caused a much longer delay because of the the amount of paper they would need to print it. So they went with a smaller print run to have a quicker turnaround. So like you see little instances where because... Yeah, and they're like people were explaining it, but you know how fans are; they can be pretty unconcerned about everybody else except for themselves. So.
Yeah, maybe this would be maybe like with this paper shortage, and I'm kind of hoping that publisher, especially like the big ones, will get a little more responsible, like where we're not releasing 32 Rob Liefeld variants, for GI Joe.
No,
I mean, like
why not?
I don't need it. Like one's enough. One's plenty, but so I mean, like maybe it'll like force everybody to kind of scale back a bit, make the books a little more precious, like I don't, I've really gotten turned off by the whole mass variant.
Someone brought that up on social media, the 1 in 500s, right? Like, like these variants where you have to order 500 copies of the number one to get just one. Like they're like. There's one of the problems right there. You're forcing shops to order a bunch of books they probably won't sell. Like, and that's taken up, like that. Someone did bring that up on social media as one of the points of trying to alleviate the pressure of all that. Yeah.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, like no matter what cover you have, it's still the same comic book as issue whatever. So you're just mass flooding the market with a bunch of versions of the comic that nobody's going to buy because it's not this super special one, and it's wasting paper, you know what I mean? Like those are just going to sit in a bargain bin and sell for $1, over the next 40 years, like all the old Image books that you go to the comic book store and see every day, you know what I mean, when you're in there.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, Youngblood.
Wet works.
Pretty much. Not just Image. I mean, DC and Marvel were guilty of it as well. I mean, they all were, right? They're like, why not? Let's print 1 billion of these. We're selling them. We'll make people think they're worth something later.
The quality of Marvel's paper, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but it's been just absolutely just atrocious this year. I don't know what it is. Just so they feel disposable, you know what I mean? Like when you start comparing like to Boom or Behemoth, like, and you get like a Marvel, it's like, I don't know. It's like a Canadian Tire flyer, right? Yeah.
These guys put out great quality. Yeah. Aftershock, the cardstock cover, like they put out good quality.
Covers. That's the way to go.
Even DC, like there's ink that the actual colors rubs off of my fingers off the cover. I'm like, this is terrible. terrible quality.
Yeah, though I do prefer DC's quality over Marvel right now. You know,
Yeah,
DC
I think they put more effort into the presentation of their product than Marvel does. I have to
better roster of artists too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it would be interesting to see indie comics go back to using more indie like types of paper and ink and stuff, because like Adrian brought up Copra, and Armin brought up you have to use the very finest paper even if you're running indie books, and it's like, well, if you look at what Michel Fife does with Copra, I mean, like it's newsprint, or it feels like newsprint. His covers they're not cardstock. They're not. It feels like you're actually legit reading a real indie comic from the '90s, from when I was a kid. Unlike when you go pick up something from, say, like Behemoth, where it feels like you're reading something that's even more higher production value than you get from DC, which I do appreciate. It's neat that the indies are doing stuff like that, but it would be cool to see like some indie guys that, especially that gravitate to like that really grindhouse nature, go back to actually printing on newsprint and stuff like that, and have indie feeling comics. You know what I mean?
I'm definitely considering it, Johnny. So maybe for one of the future ones, it'll be on newsprint. But again, it's something that it's as I think we're going to start seeing a lot of options emerge in the market now. People are going to try to find alternative solutions, and that is going to be one of them.
Yeah, the other thing too that like an indie can do is like talk to some printers in your town, right? Because maybe like there was one printer that I use for like prints and stuff like that, and I mentioned comics, and he's like, well, I think I could do it. I can't compete right now with the pricing for like Mixam or whatever, but if you approach a printer in your town, just propose it to them, because they might say, okay, let's give it a shot, right? So kind of like create your own source, you know what I mean? So all of a sudden you don't have to worry about it coming through the mail. Just drive on down and pick it up and see what you can develop in your own community, right? You almost treat it like old school, because like I'm from the 80s, 90s, like whatever teen, just almost treat it like a zine, just keep it all local, try to produce as much as you can. But it's worth the conversation to just talk to your printers and
because one thing I've noticed is what it has done is forcing companies to maybe go with smaller print runs, because there seems to be less issues getting the books out with the smaller print runs than the larger ones. Like Kickstarters, the guys I've seen complain the most are the bigger ones, where they're with huge runs, like the bigger, like the $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 Kickstarters, where they have like thousands of backers. They have a bigger print run, right? And they're the ones who are running into problems because they have such a large print run that the printers, they got so much work that they're in the queue, but it takes the paper to print all that, and they got to wait till they have enough to, like, they can't just, okay, we'll do half of it now and half of it later. No, when you print one shot, right? So they got to make sure they have enough paper there to print it, and that's where I've been seeing most of the issues right now, was with bigger print runs.
I agree with that. I'll even go so far as say that I was able to talk to the printer, and I was able to jump the queue for Lost Magic, specifically because it was such a low print run. I think I must have printed like 300 or 500 copies, but it was something where I was, people, there was like they said that they had almost like a 5K print run that they needed to do. But they just don't have the paper, and they'd rather take smaller orders, to serve more customers, obviously. So it's one of those, even the printer doesn't know what to do at this point.
Well, they want to keep their employees, right? They can't just sit there and wait for the paper to show up. They have people in there that are working that. If they don't have work coming out, they got to send these people home, and who knows? They might not come back when you do actually have the work. They might find a job somewhere else. So it's a touchy thing. Like, yeah. And what I'm wondering too is eventually this is probably going to affect price. And if that affects price, I wonder if that's going to turn more people onto digital comics. I would say they would probably go to Comixology, but after the update, I don't know if anyone wants to go to fucking Comixology anymore. Fucking update.
I can't do it. I think I'm too old school, right? Where I don't like the idea of like basically someone push a button and all my shit's gone, right? I don't know.
Well,
I
I've
suppose
actually
like
had
you know,
that happen. Well, I mean, I try to keep digital because like I used to make videos for my books and stuff. I'm gonna get back into it too, but I would like to have digital copies for the books that I really liked and stuff. And I've actually lost a couple hard drives were full of books that I paid for, digital copies of that are just gone forever because the software is just not there to keep digital copies. Um, as safe as say like a nice long box full of floppies in my opinion because I've had the same long boxes my whole life, never lost one of those. But how many hard drives of digital copies have died on me in just a few years? It's ridiculous. So yeah, that's why digital can kiss my square ass.
Well, now we know where you stand for the next topic.
Well, I don't mind them. I'll read them for review copies and stuff like that, and I've grown to them. But like, I'm definitely on Adrian's side of things. Definitely.
But there are sites not like Comixology that are like kind of like a subscription based, where the book comes from their servers. There's like Drive Through Comics where you buy the PDF and you can download it. You actually have PDFs, right? So you have copies of it. You're not relying on the subscription service to supply you with that copy through their servers. So there are companies that are popping up like Drive Through Comics that make deals, and I think they have a deal with Scout actually. So Trakovi will probably end up on Drive Through if you want to get the PDF, because Scout does have a deal with Drive Through at the moment. I don't know if they still will once you have your book out in 2023, but like Mullet Cop, I went and got the PDF there through Drive Through, and like it's just you buy the PDFs, you download them onto, so then you have a copy. Like if they go out of business, then you still have all your books. You don't have to worry about losing it all if they go bankrupt or belly up. As long as, like Johnny says, your hard drive doesn't break down and everything, you're good, right? So, but physical, you can lose physical books too. I know people that put their books in storage, and like in Texas last year when all the power went out, the snow and everything, they don't have heated container storage units there. Like I'm sure a lot of those books, pipes are breaking, water flooding everywhere. Like I've lost comics because I forgot I had a couple boxes at my parents in the basement, and the basement flooded. Lost two long boxes of comics that way. It's each one has like good and bad, but I mean, we could get into that a little more if we're done talking about the paper shortage. We could get into.
I had one thing that I had to say about the paper shortage, and the one thing that I have is like everybody knows that this comic bubble is probably going to pop again, like it did in the '90s. People are going to get tired of what's going on in the comics. And a lot of people are going to drop out. So this whole force to make new paper, is it actually going to be worth it to rush people to make more paper if the comics is going to go back to being a niche collector's thing in the near future or not? You know what I mean? Because big ass print runs and 80 million variants for image books aren't really going to be a thing in my prediction in the next couple of years. And how do you guys see the paper shortage working itself out? Do you think that they would need to rush and make as much more paper as possible, or do you think they should kind of keep it going as it is now?
When I read up on it, that's it. All the printers are all really nervous because they don't know. They don't want to invest in all this when, like, once the pandemic, once we learn how to live in it and we're getting back out in society and stuff, are people going to be like buying less books physically again? Like, because pre-pandemic, like I said, a lot of magazines and newspapers stopped printing. So printers shifted their business and downsized. Some printers closed. Do they want to invest and go bigger just to have the same thing happen to them like that happened like 10 years ago? And they'll have to downsize again, invest all this money, and they won't get a return on it. So it's so volatile now. What I was reading is no one knows what to do right now because the market's been so volatile. They don't know what the real market is right now. They have no clue, so they don't want to invest too much, so it's really, really a touchy situation for them right now. Like they don't know where to go with it. They don't know price wise how much it's going to fluctuate. Like it's so volatile right now. They're just rolling with the punches at the moment. Like no one had a definite answer from all the articles I read. They really don't know what to do.
Well, what we might get out of it is some actual real scarcity for certain books, unlike the forced scarcity that they try to force and pretend like these books are rare, we might actually end up with some real rare books in the near future that might actually be worth something. So that's something to look forward to for real collectors.
Yeah, yeah, I think that it definitely is always on my mind about it's not like even if I want to print more, I literally couldn't. I couldn't print more than whatever, like 300 copies of my first comic book, and for this one we decided only 100 variants for this very reason, because it's so cost prohibitive, and it actually doesn't make sense to print anymore.
Mm-hmm. I also wonder too if we're going to start seeing like more titles getting canceled, or even titles that were ready to go just get canceled, right? Like there was a Luke Cage title that was supposed to be out in January, so that got canceled. I don't know, for whatever reason.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, you're probably right, because Marvel would be like, "Fuck this book. We'll just whatever paper we're going to use for that, we'll allocate that to the bigger print runs to make sure we don't get delays." So I could see how, that's a good point. Yeah.
Well,
There's more digital exclusives out of nowhere. Yeah, switching stuff over to digital versions. Like Marvel did that last time, right?
Yeah,
or at least a while ago. It's a bunch of books.
DC was doing it as well for certain titles that they'd release like months later in print if they sold well digitally.
Justice League, Ships of Dark Sea. I remember that.
Yeah. One. Deceased. They had a Deceased series. One of their series came out digitally. The Wonder Woman. I can't remember. It was a 7 or 8 issue thing where it was different creators each time. Then that was digital first, and then they printed it later. So,
I think people don't realize that actually, printing and distributing the comic is actually it costs just as much, if not more, than making the comic. The production of the art and that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
absolutely.
It definitely, people have to think now, what's the best way to get this out there? And if it's, not going to make sense to, that's why a lot of them would get canceled, I imagine, and not get printed.
Cool. All right, so I guess we can move on to the next topic, because I figured one would roll pretty well into the other, which we kind of did. They overlapped anyway. So everyone's preference and how they collect comics. Like over the years, like I know Adrien and Johnny have pretty much stated their stance on it. They didn't go into detail, but they made it very clear where they stand. So so I was just curious. We'll do a roundtable and see each person, like, how do you enjoy collecting? What do you think is the best way? Pros and cons. So I don't know who wants to go first.
I've always been into physical books myself. Comics, print novels, things like that. I'm always into the physical stuff. I like to have something I can stick on my shelf or keep in the bag and board.
Jared also has a large Funko Pop collection.
That's right. Big Funko enthusiast.
Covered our college roof, that's for sure.
That's right. Yeah, I like to see things on a shelf. I think there's something to that. And like we talked about, digital, that can disappear if somebody goes under. You lose everything you had with that subscription, or a hard drive fails. So I like something I can hold on to, and if I can keep it safe, then I don't have to worry about it going anywhere.
I do like physical bets, but I really, really love trade paperbacks, because I have, like I said, long boxes, so many of them, and I have no room for more of them. So and then trade paperbacks, they're really easy to store, and they look great. You know what I mean? I have a whole bookshelf. My room looks like a little comic book store of its own, where I just have all my trades, where I can walk up and see which book is which, and I just love the simplicity of that format and original graphic novel trade paperback form. But Kickstarter's really forced me to get back into floppies, especially supporting a lot of my buddies that I've made over the years, month to month or every couple months when they have their books. And the idea of paying a little more for issues because of the paper shortage isn't really going to hurt my feelings, because at this point I'm basically paying about $25 for a single issue on Kickstarter, give or take. That's really extreme.
Yeah,
but
I don't think the Kickstarter prices will rise. I think what's going to happen, and only in physical retail stores will they rise.
Right.
Or creators can do whatever they want, but I wouldn't raise my prices on Kickstarter.
But how do you collect, Arman?
I do prefer trade paperbacks or graphic novels. I actually don't really collect floppies. I only started, one book right here, again, same like you, just, friends on Kickstarter now, because to support the community. But generally, even, I only now read indie books. I don't even read the big two anymore. For like Something's Going to Children or The Invisible Kingdom, I'll wait until that comes out in a trade paperback. If I can, avoid buying it online, like in digital, I would, I will usually grab it if it really strikes me. Or if I read it digitally and I really enjoy it, then I'll grab the print copy just so I can store it on my bookshelf, because I do really like having a bookshelf of my favorite graphic novel, the trade paperbacks. And yeah, I only have like one shelf full. I'm trying to get more in, but things have to really interest me and excite me.
All right, Senior Koleric.
Well, I'm the guy that back in like 1992 waited in front of an HMV for the new REM album to come out, right? So it's just what we did, right? So I have no interest in digital. I mean, I did digital versions for Trakovi because I knew there were people that that wanted digital, and that's fine. And also too, in terms of promotion, submitting, it's a tool, right? It's a necessary evil, but I can't commit to a full digital library. I like to, and it's probably too because being an artist as well, I like having I almost treat them like reference books. You know what I mean? Like I'll just kind of pop into my box and like I'll I'm looking for a particular scene. I'll just basically flip through like a library, and I just like the feel of it. Yeah. But I find though now it's like, so I do have like a couple of the big two that I follow still, like the Captain Marvel run, and then Spider-Woman, and then Black Widow. But I find it's kind of hard sticking with it because, I mean, we're going to like, we're getting into issue 30 or whatever with Captain Marvel. Spider-Woman's going to be into the 30s as well. And I'm finding that's been hard to kind of like sticking with, like a long run. So that's why I kind of really appreciate more like the shorter runs. Like Red Mother was like, I think like a 12 issue run,
Yeah.
But
that was
I don't know, like,
great book. Love that book.
Oh, how no one's still talking about that, or Sea of Sorrows, right? Like, that was only 5 issues, and it was like I think about it like every other day, right? So yeah, so I find for me, like I said, I prefer floppies, but like I said, I'm going to start getting more particular about, whether, sticking with like the more shorter runs, like the 5 to 10 to 10 runs. Everything after that, it almost seems excessive, I guess. Like Philadelphia. I loved Philadelphia when it came out. I hopped on it right away. But I kept thinking like, hey, we're going to end it, right? We're going to end it. Man, it's going. It's going. It's going to end it.
Yeah.
So they're gorgeous books, and they're great and all that, but it's just it's too much, right? It's too much. But anyway, paper.
All right, I'll give you my opinion, but first I'll give a few shout outs to people that popped in. Comics Fred, how's it going? Mel, how's it going? And one of our occasional co-hosts, PDF Fulci.
PDF Fulci with the Santa beard, yeah.
Yeah, he loves digital, man.
He's our digital specialist.
He won't do shows if he can't read a physical copy. He refuses to even read digital, even to do an episode just to be able to talk. He'll refuse. So he's definitely not a digital fan. Anyway, so I've become more of I'd say hybrid is the way I would qualify myself, because I was like 90s kid, so like none of this shit existed. So like even when we went from newsprint to the newer stuff, I kind of miss, like, even that I found was a transition where I was like, it's nice. The paper, like it's more of a magazine paper, but it doesn't have that same feel. It doesn't have the same smell. Mm-hmm. I was like, so even that transition for me was like, I found that was a little rough, like in the price increase that came with it too. I was like, I don't know if I like this, so even that transition, I was like, Then college came around and I was broke ass. So I started buying a lot less comics. And then, you know what? If it wasn't for digital, I would have never got back into buying as much as I do now, because I started buying trades. I started getting back in first with trades.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah. I was like, fuck this. Single issues. I didn't have a comic shop near me. So I was like, I want the story. I don't want to have to come back and then, oh, come to find out we don't have any more of that issue. So you have like issue 1 and 2, 3 sold out, and we have 4 and 5. So fuck that. I was picking up trades. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, Kindle. Like I got Amazon Prime, and I was like, I was looking, oh, they have books. And I was like, oh shit, they have comic books too. So then I started looking through that, and I was like, man, I was paying $25 for a trade here, and it's $10 digitally on the Kindle. So I was like, damn. I'm like, twice the amount of bang for my buck. I'm all about bargains, in case you guys didn't know. I was like, fuck yeah, sign me up. So then I started getting a lot of digital that way. And then the more I read, the more I wanted to read more. So then I started going out of my way to go back to my comic shop, and I started buying more floppies that way. So digital was kind of a gateway for me to start buying floppies again. Yeah, so...
It's proof that it's evil.
Yeah, it is. Comics are bad. Comics are the devil. And one other thing that I really noticed this week is my office was a mess, and none of my floppies were organized. So then I started organizing them, and oh my god, what the fuck, man!
Oh yeah,
what a nightmare!
Bagging and borging.
What a nightmare that was!
Boxes.
And that's one thing about digital; it's all organized for you. It's like boop, filter. How do you want it? You want it by date, title, when you purchased it? With the click of a button, it's all organized. I'm like, oh, if only I could do that with my office, but I can't.
It's so cold. It's so cold.
Yeah, but and then there's also space.
Yeah,
I'm running out of space. My wife's like, you're gonna stop buying. You got so many floppies, right? My wife's like, where are you gonna put all this now? And I'm like,
oh, I know. When I come over the garage door, she kind of looks down at my hand. I'm like, I'm usually holding something, right? It's like,
so,
you probably appreciate it. I picked this up the other day. It's a French-Canadian version of Daredevil.
Okay.
Right? So it's all, I just had to have it. Right? Of course she's like, why?
But the one thing I have become that I've loved, and then if I had to make a choice, if I could only collect one format, would be hardcovers. I love collected editions, especially library oversize. That's the way. If I had to pick one way to collect a comic, that would be the way to do it for the rest of my life. If I could only choose one way, it would be the oversized hardcovers. Love them to death. They look great on a bookshelf. They take less room. Yeah, the artwork is bigger. And I'm getting old too. My eyes. I think I'm gonna have to go see the go to the eye doctors, because man, sometimes I get some comics. I'm like, what the fuck? I gotta hold it. It's horrible.
I just got my reading glasses last week.
I wish that they would do more books in hardcover, though, man. That's the problem with that format, is not everything gets put out in it, and that's what hurts my feelings. You know what I mean? Because even from certain writers, like they've only barely put out Low on hardcover, which they put out like all the rest of the Reminder stuff right away, and it's like, well, that's like his second best book. Like, why did that take so? And you know what I mean? You can't rely on what they're going to put out in hardcover, and that's why I stick to just regular trades. Plus, you got to wait longer for the hardcovers to come out, because usually they put more books in them, at least for most labels. So, and I want to read it as fast as possible. And I'm already waiting for the trade, so waiting for the hardcovers a little bit too long for me, but personally, but I hear you. They're beautiful. When I can get one for a book I really like, I do.
Yeah, and another reason
European
too.
Stuff.
My wife loves reading comics too, but she won't read floppies anymore. She hates taking them out of the bag. Then I'm always staring at her, right? Because in case the tape touches the cover, she's like, "Nah, I'm not reading those." So I get hardcovers, digital, or trade paperbacks. That's what she'll read. She won't read She's like, "Is that in floppies, or do you have it in a trade?" I was like, "Floppies." She's like, "Eh." Like, nah. I let her read my floppies, but she doesn't like the way I look at her when she reads them. So. Yeah. Yeah, but man, and that's one thing that I have to hand to digital, and I don't know, you get some pretty crazy sales digitally. Just recently they had what was it? Love and Rockets. $1 for each issue. $1. I was like, holy shit. East of West. issue a while back. They had it 80% off. I got the whole run digitally for $20, 45 issues. It was crazy. Like I said, like I used to go every day to check the sales. Like every Tuesday, I think it's Tuesdays the new sales dropped, and I'd check that for those crazy bargains like that. Because there's a lot of
those humble bundle things that you give me sometimes. Those are
yeah,
actually awesome.
those are awesome too. I'm addicted to those. There's a good one on right now. I think an Omnipress has one out.
Really?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, Oni Press, man, they have one out right now, a humble bundle. And that's what's great about that too, is they have a slider. So you not always, but often they have a slider. So you pick how much goes to the site, how much goes to the publisher, and how much goes to the charity. Because Humble Bundle, what it works, it's a charity site where you buy these books and a percentage of the money goes to charity. And they have the slider. So you can pick, there's 3, like the site, because of Humble Bundle, how much goes to them, publisher, and charity, which is great. It's a good way to help get comics and give to charity at the same time. So, and they usually have
really
2
awesome
different
bundles too. Yeah.
Like I got 3 image bundles. I've gotten 2000 AD, a few of those bundles. They had a Boom bundle. They had a AWA bundle, their whole first wave. They put that out on Humble Bundle, and it's like $30. Hey, one of the image ones I got 52 trades for $35, which is insane.
It's a good way too. Like, when you think about like as a creator, right? Like once your print run is all done and all that, it is a good way though, obviously, for people to, I guess, discover your book. Even years later, right? So it's as a creator, it's fantastic. As a collector, I could care less.
Yeah,
I guess, right?
Yeah, I
would say that for digital, I probably most of the stuff I read is actually digital. I would say maybe, I don't know, if I had to break it down, like 85% of what I read is digital versus print. So I do, the convenience of it, is just so simple. It really is.
Like when you're traveling, you bring your tablet with you, man. Like one tablet, you could have hundreds of books. Like I love it for that when I go. And I can sample
easier online, and then if I like it, then I'll go buy the print. That's usually how it works, and then I kind of can sample a lot more, with the sales and whatnot. I have the Marvel bundle. I think it's $100 a year, and I get access to every single title they have throughout the history and all their new stuff. So it's really, how do I not take that deal? So I think there's a delay of like 6 months from the new stuff that's releases, but
I think they dropped it down to 3 months now.
Oh, that's even better.
Because at DC, because you know how Marvel and DC are, right? Monkey see, monkey do, right? So DC was 3 months, then Marvel, like I think a few months later, like, oh, we'll do 3 months too. So be like, if DC drops it to 2, then maybe Marvel will drop it to 2, and then it'll be instant digital sooner or later. Kind of like movies, right? You get the simultaneous streaming and theatrical releases there.
Now. Yeah, it's simultaneous. So
yeah, but for sure, I still enjoy collecting. Obviously, like if you saw my room, I have a bunch of I buy the frames and I love hanging comics on my walls because it's awesome. I'll never stop buying physical, but only the books I really love now. I've started to realize just the space, the money I invest, it's a lot. It's a commitment, and it's a commitment I'm not as committed to anymore doing the floppies,
I started contemplating selling. Oh,
go ahead.
No, I kind of like lately contemplating selling off some of my collection, right? And then you start looking at it and be like, oh, do you remember the day you bought it, the feeling it gave you, and then you just got this guilt about it, and you're like, oh,
I'm over that now. I'm kind of going through all my boxes to see what I just to make sure I'm not selling something that I could sell for $100 for $5. That's all I'm checking. So I'm gonna bundle runs together and just a global price, and
I keep looking at my Something's Killing Children collection, right? Because I got I started when it came out, so I got #1 first print all the way up, right? I keep looking at them how much do I really like you, right? Do I really, so, but I keep waiting for like the big, for the show, where I know like it got picked up and it's in development, but but the show could come out and it could just be bad.
If you're going to sell it, man, sell it soon. If you do, you could put your kid through college probably with what you could make off of those. So. I mean, like a couple months after they came out, my friends were selling like their runs from 1 through 8 for like $1,200. So yeah, I'm not kidding you. At least you could put her through community college or junior college.
Online Phoenix, yeah.
It's college. Come on. But for me in digital, there's no comfortable way to read it. You can't, like, even with the tablets that are supposed to be amazing, it's just not the same as like being able to lay back with the trade and flip through it and and not worry about what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like with the tablet, it's heavy, it's clunky. You gotta swipe it. You gotta zoom in every now and then because I like Joey. My eyes aren't as good, and they don't really make tablets with big ass screens. I would like to have a nice oversized European graphic novel style tablet, but they don't make them like that. They're barely bigger than most iPhones. So
you can do panel to panel though.
Once you read a comic like that, and especially what if you have a really weird comic like Trakovi or something with weird panel layouts? Like how fun is that going to be to try to read panel to panel?
I can't even read my own digital copy. I try. Like, this is stupid.
But Trakovi reads great off of a phone. Like I hate reading off my phone, but when you sent us those flip books, like it was the greatest comic I've ever read on my phone. I'm not kidding. Like Trakovi, the phone comic is like what it needs to.
That goddamn flip book thing was so annoying. It was so glitchy, right?
That was the first time
Oh god. Yeah. So yeah, I obviously opted out of that, but I can't. I just can't. Like I can't even read my own book off my phone.
But one thing I've noticed, like digitally, because you do page to page, right? You can isolate one page. So if you want to do a turn page reveal, it's so much easier to do digitally because you don't have to plan it because if your turn page is on the wrong side, then you see it before you even turn the goddamn page. But digitally, it's page to page. So you can do a reveal, a page turn anywhere digitally. If that's one of the advantages of digital, right? It's you don't have to worry about laying it out, so you get that turn page reveal, right? It's
still a no for me, Joe.
Yeah. I mean, like if I was a librarian and I really wanted to sell it really cool for the kid and swipe to the right and be like, look at this, oh my god, isn't that incredible? Like, yeah, that would be great, but like the turn page reveals aren't, I mean, like they're rad, but like they haven't caught me off guard since like I was a child. You know what I mean?
That feeling
not
though,
as
like
important as they were.
But when you got that paper, in your hand, you open up a book and then you sort of like kind of get just like a rush of just of like the color and the layouts and like the last Nightwing issue. Remember they did the splash? It was all splash pages.
Yeah.
Like every page there was no.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like the Black Widow run right now. It's just a beautiful book. The illustrations it's fantastic. So just like that feeling of just like you open up, you kind of like physically immerse yourself in the artwork. I don't know. That's just me. So.
And the artwork never looks as good as it does on print. I mean, never, especially with a really good looking book.
And another reason why I love digital is because it allows me to read more. Because I can read in bed and I can control the light of the screen. Because my wife, if there's even a little bit of light, she gets all fucking super annoyed and be like I'll be reading. She's like, "Are you gonna turn the light off soon?" Because so with the tablet.
Joe,
I don't
she's not going to leave you. She's not going to leave you. Don't worry about it.
No, but she gets
the light on.
Her bedtime is very important to her. She gets grumpy,
Oh, mine too. Yeah, no, it's yeah.
But no, like I've really grown to love digital, seriously. But it can become a collector's item, right? You just turn it into an NFT and become rich.
Yeah. Stored on blockchain, buddy. Yeah.
So dumb. NFTs. Good break. I came across one site that someone's going off with their NFT. And I'm like, screen grab. Is this how this works? I don't know. I'm not sure how this works. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I find the older I get, the more bitter I get. I'm kind of I'm enjoying it, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I'm there with you, man. There's a lot of things that annoy the shit out of me now.
So, no, I will say though, I used to like collect like in terms of music, right? Like I always collected physical, right? Like vinyl, CD, cassettes, right? But I haven't bought a physical copy in the last couple of years. Like I just enjoy having my music all digital now. I just can't, so I don't know. So I'm not a complete caveman.
There you go.
They made it a lot harder to get physical records though, man. You got to go to like actual record stores. Best Buy has a little crappy record selection. You know what I mean? Most stores, they used to have bigger record selections. Now, if you don't listen to Justin Bieber, you're not going to find it, you know what I mean, in most places. So.
Vinyl's very expensive. Yeah, vinyl's expensive to buy. Like you're buying them for like $30-$40, right? And up,
Yeah, it's hard
Who's got
to get
time for
vinyl.
vinyl?
I have vinyl. I collect vinyls.
I
got
get
some
punk
vinyl
rock
too, but it's
vinyl,
like-
so it's not as expensive as probably like a lot of other vinyl. But I mean, I don't know if I was looking for certain records, like if I was trying to get like the original Middle Breakdown by Black Flag or something like that, that would probably run me a lot. But if you just go get normal 45s and 32s, like for new bands, it's not that much.
Okay, so like bands like Black Flag and basically anybody that came out of the 80s, like Dead Kennedys or the Exploited or whatever, they had like you gotta list them on vinyl just because it just adds to the because like the sound quality is shit, right? It's all scratched and all that. It adds to the ambience, right? But Bieber's got to be on digital.
Yeah.
Only
I get
way
my
to
peaches
listen
down
to
from
Bieber.
Georgia. That's the shit. Yeah, man. I'll be bumping my Bieber.
I'm not ashamed.
Put on some Bieber. You might be bumping some Bieber.
Yeah, man. I'm a believer, or whatever he calls his fans.
Is it a believer?
Believer, I think is what they're called.
That was when he was like a teenager. I don't know if they call him that anymore.
I don't know. I can't listen to Bieber because it's like me going into certain bars, right? I'm at that age where I should not be going to certain bars, so I should not be listening to because I might just have like that white van,
Well, I mean, I don't give him crap anymore because he's almost 30 and he's still doing it. So like he must have did something right. You know what I mean?
He's still alive. He's still alive,
he's
right?
Still alive too. Yeah.
Give him that, right? Good for him.
Give him a break at least on that. Don't make fun of him anymore. I'm not saying be a fan, but like at least give him a little respect at this point.
Yeah, man.
It's like Nickelback, right?
You've made it when you're making your own Timbits, right? That's you've made it.
I don't know about Nickelback. I could give Bieber some respect, but I don't know about Chad Kroeger. Like that's asking a little too much.
That yeah, I know. I can't. I got nothing to defend. I can't defend that.
Are he and Avril Lavigne still together?
Yeah, he's
the Canadian royal couple.
Yeah.
No. I think they split.
Okay.
I think when you found out that the fact that he looked 45 and she looked 12, I think that might have played into how that worked out. My God, that was like an experiment.
It would bother
that marriage was like good.
It would bother me when you go places and people you don't know, they're like, "Oh, this is your daughter." No, it's my wife.
That marriage, it was like a bunch of guys sitting around high, just throwing out random couples, right? You know what I mean? Like, B. Arthur and I don't know, Kanye or something. You know what I mean? Like, just like, yeah, that's what that was.
That was right there.
That was the island of Dr. Moreau of marriages.
Yeah, that wasn't. Yeah, it was odd. The first time I heard that, I was like, "Really?"
That's just bad writing. Bad writing.
Yeah, I think she's with she's I don't know if you follow like the the new pop punk emerging artists like Machine Gun Kelly. So she's dating one of like his crew called Mod Sun.
Okay.
They have a few songs out right now, and
not the biggest fan of Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah, Machine Gun Kelly's like Kid Rock after Baby at Bath. I don't know. I just find there's something about him that just it's like Megan Fox, like she showed her ring, and apparently there's like some kind of spiking it or something. So if she takes it off, then it's like it's gonna hurt her. I'm like, well, that's not a good start. I mean, that's just like day one. Like, what's gonna be going forward? Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm a lot bigger fan of people like Ghostman and like Zillakami and Sos Mula and stuff when it comes to punk rock rap. NASCAR Aloe, you know, the screamier guys. Machine Gun Kelly is, I don't know. He's people said he was better than Eminem or something, but like I don't know. It was weird.
I don't know if he's better than no way for that, but you know, I think he's definitely got to take a rap out of it.
That was a pretty definite. What? No, absolutely not.
This interview's over.
I'm never coming back.
Oh.
I saw the Super Bowl, so I'm pretty hyped.
Yeah, I missed that. I didn't see the Super Bowl.
I didn't get into it. I watched it. I'm like, okay, yeah, okay. And I understand, like, when I think I kind of lost it when 50 Cent was like upside down, like a bat. I'm like, and then it's like he just looks so puffy. It's like all the blood was kind of rushing to, like, you know, it's like he's been hanging there for an hour kind of thing, right? Like, who is that? Why is it saying a 50 Cent song? Oh, it is 50 Cent. It just, yeah.
I like the mosh posh. You know, it wasn't one artist. It was, you know, it didn't feel like it was dragging.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know if he was going to be on there. I'd have watched it if I knew he was going to be on there. I like Curtis.
They did
good. They did good.
Most people enjoyed it. Yeah.
Eminem and his dyed beard. You know, it was good. Magical.
There, man. You guys, I guess we could start wrapping up. I mean, unless you guys want to keep talking about Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox breaking their blood, and then I don't know what other fucking weird couples are there out there.
Gwen Stefani and that country singer guy. That's the weirdest.
Oh my god! Like, what is with the niece marrying the drunk uncle? Right? Gwen Stefani just fell off a cliff at some point. You know, she was all on top of the world with Hollaback Girl, and then she's just like, she's your aunt. You know, it's just the weirdest thing.
She fell, hit her head, and thought she was Dolly Parton. Like that's all I can see, man. Either that's what she kind of reminds me of, because she's what?
Like Blake Shelton. Like, I mean, that's who she goes to. Like she gets rid of Gavin Rossdale. Albeit Rossdale did nail the nanny, but Blake Shelton.
I would have divorced Gavin Rossdale because of how terrible he was in the movie Constantine, man. Like, that's one of the greatest comic book movies ever, and he was so terrible in it.
He's like the Jar Jar Binks of Constantine.
Yeah.
I think when you become a celebrity, you don't have a choice. I think it's in your contract. You have to bang the nanny. I think that's part of it. Because then Stallone bang not Stallone, but Schwarzenegger bang the nanny.
Yeah. Knocked her up, and it's like, and so they show the kid like at 14 or 15, and he looked like an Hispanic Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? It was just the weirdest thing. It's like, that's not my kid. I'm like, yeah, that's your kid, bro. That's your kid.
He's a little chubby, but he looks just like you, man. Like, yeah,
just like him.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you gotta do like Matt Damon, right? You marry like an interior designer out of like.
He still bangs the nanny though. He's best friends with Ben Affleck. He's done it, you know.
Allegedly.
It's not an ostrich there, man. This ain't Letterkenny. Like, he did it.
Yeah, you know you're in trouble when one of the spouses go, she had a nanny.
Yeah.
Right. And if you got no kids too, then it's really weird, right?
But before I get in trouble and I get us sued by Ben Affleck for slander, I'm gonna go ahead and start buttoning this up like Joey was alluding to, and let's go around and let you guys plug your socials. Adrian, you wanna give one last shout out to where you can find your book, where you can find you, and all that good gravy?
Yes, so you can find me on social media at 3Press Comics. So it's the number 3 Press Comics, or at Think Item. That's it.
Well, that's right. You can't push your book anymore because you're contracted. My bad.
I got like some copies of like issue 2. So if anyone wants any like of the self-published Trakovi books, which will be out in Scout Comics next year. So if you want like the eventual $10,000 book, you can get it out for $10. So it's
Where
funny
can-
too.
where
It's like
can-
sorry.
Where can I get one? Where can I get one?
3presscomics.ca.
All right.
So there you go.
So
Yeah, it's funny too. It's like I'm telling people, I'm like, you better get one. You better get one, right? So I'm not. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Maybe I'll be married to Chad Kruger in a couple of years. I don't know. We'll see.
He's probably still
All right.
pretty wealthy, so could do worse.
Right? I don't know. He do the soundtrack for the Trakovi movie, right? Like my own version of Hero. Oh my God! You kidding me?
All right, guys. Jared, what plug your socials and anything you got going on, man?
I like to just stick to Instagram for the most part. You can find me at _Boffin. We have a couple YouTube channels. We got our short films. It's on Numina Media, Noumena Media, and we have our prank channel. That is currently it's called Made Y'all Look, but we're in the middle of rebranding right now. So check that out, especially the Spider-Man one. Got to plug that.
Where you're stealing phones, right? That's the one.
That's right.
All right, Armin, we'll let you go last, and you can plug your Kickstarter at the same time.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, it's live on Kickstarter now. Genetic Superiority #1. This is going to run for I think 9 more days. Maybe even less now. But yeah, I'm trying to let's get it funded. And then also at Real Arman Nasim on just my name on Instagram. My website armannasim.com. You can find me there, and you can find links to everything. You can find links. I link out everywhere. So, but definitely pick up this book first, and then on Kickstarter.
Right.
Nice.
You're in for a real treat. Of course, this was a brand new episode of Pink Buzz. We had a lot of fun, got a lot of really good takes, really good conversations about all our topics. We got everything covered, and I think we had a great time. So really happy for everybody that joined us in the chat. All of our buddies showed up, and man, this was a really, really solid episode. Like I want to thank everybody for showing up. This, of course, is graphic vandalism. We would like to Pink Buzz on graphic vandalism. We'd really like to ask you guys to like, subscribe, and share if you haven't. Really helps people like our Armin, Adrien, and Jared's books get better known, gets more people to know about these things, and really helps people find out about quality entertainment, and that's what it's all about, man. That's what we do here at Pink Buzz. So until next time, check you later.